Every 90 seconds in America, someone over 60 is rushed to the emergency room because of a fall. Not because of tripping over a rug or missing a step, but often because their legs suddenly give out. What's even more shocking is that many of these falls aren't caused by disease. Instead, the hidden culprit is something most people overlook: silent leg weakness and cramps that strike out of nowhere. And here's the twist: those painful cramps are not just a nuisance. They can rob you of confidence, keep you from walking freely, and even take away the independence you've worked your whole life to enjoy. Hello, my friends, I am Dr. Nana, and today I want to share something that can truly change the way you move through your golden years. I've seen it countless times in my practice. One woman, age 70, confessed she stopped attending her church socials because she was terrified that her legs might give out while she stood in line. She thought this was just part of aging. But when we discovered the true root cause, a lack of two simple minerals, magnesium and potassium, her strength began to return, and with it, her confidence. So let me ask you directly, have you ever been jolted awake by a sudden Charlie horse in your calf, gasping as you rub your leg in the dark? Or maybe you felt your legs drained halfway through the day, as if the energy had simply leaked away? If yes, type 1 in the comments. If not, type O. We read and respond to every single comment here on Senior Health Boost because your story matters. In today's video, I will show you 8 everyday foods items you can find in nearly every American grocery store that are rich in magnesium and potassium. These are the very minerals your muscles are crying out for. Think of them as your hidden power source, keeping your legs strong, steady, and free from painful cramps. And while you're here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join our Senior Health Boost community. That way, you'll never miss a tip that could change the way you walk, move, and live. Let's begin with something so humble, so simple, that many people overlook it entirely: the green garden pea. Half a cup of cooked peas delivers around 60 to 70 milligrams of magnesium and nearly 500 milligrams of potassium. To give you perspective, that's more potassium than half a banana and a meaningful dose of magnesium in just a few spoonfuls. These two minerals are vital. Magnesium helps your muscles relax after every single contraction, while potassium fuels the tiny electrical impulses that make each movement possible. When either one runs too low, your muscles may fire out of rhythm, leading to spasms, cramps, and weakness. Research from the National Institutes of Health has shown that older adults who meet their daily magnesium needs are significantly less likely to suffer nighttime leg cramps compared to those who fall short. I'll never forget George, age 69. He grew up eating peas straight from his family's garden, but like many of us, replaced them later with fast food and frozen meals. By the time he came to me, George was suffering from painful spasms in his calves almost every evening. The solution? We simply asked him to reintroduce peas and other magnesium-rich vegetables into his weekly meals. Within a month, he told me he could sit through his grandson's entire baseball game without that gnawing pain. It wasn't a miracle pill, it was just food his body had been missing all along. So how do you bring peas back onto your plate without overthinking it? It's simple. You don't need fancy recipes. Add half a cup to your dinner as a side, toss them into a salad for a pop of green, or blend them into a warm soup. The real secret is consistency. Small portions, a few times a week, can make a meaningful difference in how steady and strong your legs feel. And as encouraging as that is, wait until you hear about the next food. It's likely already one of your favorite snacks. Yet hidden inside this crunchy bite is a surprising power to calm restless muscles. Almonds. A small handful, just about an ounce, can provide 70 to 80 milligrams of magnesium and 200 to 300 milligrams of potassium. Think of magnesium as your body's natural muscle relaxer. It calms overactive nerves and allows muscles to release after contracting. Potassium, meanwhile, steadies the electrical signals between nerves and muscles, preventing those sudden misfires that feel like a Charlie horse in the middle of the night. Research from the Harvard School of Public Health has even shown that people who include nuts like almonds at least 4 times a week have better muscle function and a lower risk of chronic cramping compared to those who rarely eat them. I remember Maria, age 72, who came to me embarrassed because she kept dropping things in her kitchen, and that is where we'll pick up in the next section, as I share Maria's story and show you just how powerful almonds can be for aging legs. We just spoke about almonds and how something as simple as a small handful can bring relief from painful spasms and weak grip strength. That story of Maria reminded us that sometimes, the smallest changes have the biggest impact. Maria used to come into my office frustrated, embarrassed even, because her hands would stiffen when she cooked, and her calves would lock up so tightly at night that she'd have to get out of bed and pace the hallway just to find relief. She was convinced she needed a prescription, some kind of pill to fix the problem. But as I listened, one detail stood out: her diet was almost completely lacking in magnesium-rich foods. I am Dr. Nana, and I can tell you from years of working with seniors, what you eat, or more importantly, what you don't eat, plays a bigger role in your muscles than most people realize. For Maria, the solution wasn't found in the pharmacy aisle, but in her kitchen cabinet. Instead of reaching for cookies in the afternoon, I encouraged her to swap in a handful of almonds. It seemed too small to matter, but within just a few weeks, she returned with a smile on her face. The cramps in her legs had eased. The strength in her hands had improved, and she said something that still rings in my ears. Dr. Nana, I never thought something so small could make such a big difference. That's the beauty of almonds. You don't need a large amount. An ounce or two several times a week is enough to support steadier muscles and calmer nerves. You can keep a jar in your pantry or even in your car. Eat a handful when you feel the urge for chips, or sprinkle them over oatmeal and yogurt for a double boost of minerals and protein. It's not about massive changes. It's about consistency, the small deposits you make into your health account every single week. But if almonds surprise you with their quiet power, wait until you hear about the next food. It's not exotic, not expensive, and chances are, you already have it in your kitchen right now. It's bread. Yes, bread. A food that shows up on nearly every American table, but one that can either work for you or quietly work against you depending on the kind you choose. Here's why. 2 slices of whole wheat bread contain between 40 and 60 milligrams of magnesium and around 100 to 200 milligrams of potassium. At first glance, those numbers might not look like much. But here's the secret. Because bread is something people eat daily, those small amounts quickly add up. Bread becomes a steady, reliable source of these essential minerals, quietly protecting your muscles from cramping and weakness without you even noticing. Think of magnesium as the nutrient that helps your muscles avoid that tight, locked-up feeling by fueling energy production in every cell. Potassium, on the other hand, is what ensures that this energy is delivered to your muscle fibers exactly when they need it. Without potassium, the wires misfire. Without magnesium, the engine sputters. Together, they keep your movements smooth and steady. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that adults who consumed whole grains regularly not only had more stable blood sugar, but also demonstrated better overall muscle performance compared to those who relied on refined white bread. That's because whole grains preserve the minerals, the fiber, and the slow-burning carbohydrates that your body needs to function. Now let me tell you about Robert. He was 75 years old and confessed to me with a sheepish grin that he loved bread so much he ate it at nearly every meal. The problem? He was only eating soft white bread. Fluffy, convenient, but stripped of almost everything that gives bread its strength. Robert complained of heavy legs that tired too quickly, and cramps that cut his daily walks short. I didn't ask him to give up bread. That would have been cruel. Instead, I suggested a simple swap: replace his white loaf with a hearty, 100% whole wheat bread. At first, he doubted it could make much difference. But after 2 months, he came back and told me something remarkable. The cramps had eased, his legs felt lighter, and he was walking farther without needing to stop. He didn't give up the food he loved. He just learned how to make it work for him instead of against him. If you're wondering how to apply this in your own life, here's the key. When you shop, look for bread labeled 100 whole wheat on the package. Don't be fooled by labels that simply say wheat bread. Those often still contain a large amount of refined white flour. Real whole wheat bread has a denser texture, a richer flavor, and carries the minerals your muscles need. You can toast it for breakfast with peanut butter, build a sandwich for lunch, or pair it with a bowl of warm soup at dinner. The point isn't to eat bread with every meal, it's to make the bread you do eat count. Every slice should be part of your mineral balance, part of the steady rhythm that keeps your legs strong. And speaking of nuts and grains, let's move on to a food that doesn't get enough attention, but deserves a place in this conversation. It's a nut that many people associate with pies at Thanksgiving or the sweet candied versions sold during the holidays. But when eaten in its simplest form, it carries quiet power for your muscles. I'm talking about pecans. 1 ounce of pecans, about 20 halves, provides around 34 milligrams of magnesium and more than 100 milligrams of potassium. Compared to almonds, those numbers may seem modest. But pecans come with an added gift: heart-healthy fats that directly nourish your nerves. And if there's one thing you should remember, it's this: cramps are not just about the muscle itself. They're also about the nerves that deliver the signals telling those muscles when to contract and when to release. Magnesium in pecans acts like a natural brake, calming overstimulated nerve endings. Potassium ensures that the rhythm of contraction and release stays steady, so your muscle fibers don't fire out of sync. The combination is what prevents those sudden nighttime jolts that can leave you clutching your calf in pain. In fact, a study from the Journal of the American Heart Association confirmed that diets including tree nuts, pecans among them, improved neuromuscular coordination in older adults. That means fewer spasms, greater control, and even a reduced risk of falls. Think about that. A simple handful of pecans could make the difference between steady steps and a stumble. And adding pecans into your life is easier than you think. You don't need to bake them into pies or coat them in sugar. In fact, it's better if you don't. Enjoy a small handful, raw or lightly roasted, as an afternoon snack. Toss them into a bowl of steamed green beans or spinach for added crunch. Sprinkle them over warm oatmeal in the morning to start your day with both flavor and strength. Remember, it's not about eating large amounts. Just a handful here and there, added to meals you already enjoy, can shift your mineral balance and protect your muscles in powerful ways. So, we've now seen how almonds can calm restless muscles, how whole wheat bread can provide steady daily fuel, and how pecans can nourish both muscles and nerves. Each of these foods proves that you don't always need exotic ingredients or expensive supplements to strengthen your legs. Sometimes the best solutions are the ones right in front of you, waiting to be appreciated. But we're only getting started. Because the next food on our list doesn't come from the nut or grain family at all. It comes from a vegetable that you may have overlooked in your kitchen, yet it carries a unique mineral balance that works like quiet medicine for your muscles. It's humble, it's versatile, and it might just surprise you with how powerful it can be for calming cramps and restoring strength. We just saw how nuts like almonds and pecans can calm nerves and muscles, and how even bread, when chosen wisely, fuels your legs with steady minerals. That quiet power shows us something important. Strength doesn't always come from supplements or pills, but from simple foods we've had around us all along. Now, let's take that same lesson into the world of leafy greens. Because while nuts bring crunch and comfort, there's another food one that's been a trusted staple in Southern kitchens for generations that can be just as powerful in protecting your legs at night. I'm talking about collard greens. Collards may not always steal the spotlight, but in the American South, they've been on dinner tables for centuries as a symbol of strength and resilience. And there's a good reason why. A single cup of cooked collard greens carries about 40 milligrams of magnesium and more than 200 milligrams of potassium. That combination makes them a quiet powerhouse for tired, aging muscles. Think of magnesium as the mineral that lets your muscle fibers relax after a contraction, like a deep exhale after a long day. Potassium is the spark that keeps the signals between nerves and muscles smooth and steady. Without them, nighttime cramps sneak in when you least expect it, often striking in the middle of sleep. Research from the Journal of Nutrition has shown that diets rich in dark leafy greens are directly linked to fewer nocturnal leg cramps in adults over 60. But collards don't just feed your muscles. They bring along calcium and vitamin K, nutrients that quietly protect your bones. Strong bones and strong muscles always work together. When your muscles don't seize up in the night, you not only sleep better, but you also wake up with the confidence to walk, climb stairs, and stay active throughout the day. Isn't that the kind of independence we all want to hold on to? Now, if you've never cooked collards before, don't worry. You don't have to prepare them in the heavy, traditional Southern style if that's not your taste. Try steaming them lightly, add a squeeze of lemon for brightness, or chop them into a hearty soup or stew. Pair them with beans or lean protein and you've got a meal that strengthens both muscles and bones in one dish. And speaking of surprises, let's turn to something completely different. Not a leafy green this time, but a fruit light, refreshing, and far sweeter than collards. On a hot summer day, few things feel more satisfying than a cool slice of honeydew melon. But here's the secret. Beyond its pale green sweetness, honeydew hides a mineral profile that can change the way your muscles feel. Just 1 cup of honeydew delivers around 18 milligrams of magnesium and nearly 400 milligrams of potassium. That's almost the same potassium you'd find in a medium banana. Potassium acts like a spark plug for your muscles, keeping contractions smooth, while magnesium ensures the fibers can fully relax after the work is done. Studies from the National Institutes of Health confirm that older adults with steady potassium intake are far less likely to suffer severe cramps, especially during the hotter months when fluids drain from the body more quickly. But here's the other hidden gift. Honeydew is more than 90% water. That means every bite works like natural hydration, preventing one of the sneakiest causes of muscle cramps: dehydration. Imagine swapping a soda or sugary drink for a bowl of honeydew cubes. You'd cut unnecessary sugar, while giving your muscles the exact electrolytes they crave. The simplest trick is to keep melon cubes cut and ready in the fridge. Add them to a fruit salad, blend into smoothies, or enjoy them as a cool snack after a walk. On a hot day, that sweet juiciness doesn't just refresh your mouth, it restores balance in your body. Have you ever noticed how much better your legs feel after eating fruit instead of reaching for a processed snack? And while honeydew refreshes with hydration, the next fruit proves that summer sweetness can also carry quiet strength for both your muscles and your nerves. Let's talk about peaches. More than just a nostalgic symbol of summer in America, peaches are a hidden ally for aging muscles. A medium peach contains about 14 milligrams of magnesium and nearly 300 milligrams of potassium. To put it into perspective, that potassium level is on par with a small sports drink, except this one comes wrapped in fiber, antioxidants, and natural hydration, without the added sugar. Potassium in peaches keeps your muscles firing evenly, ensuring nerves and fibers stay in sync. Magnesium prevents that tight lock sensation that often builds into a painful cramp. The USDA reports that adults who include fruits like peaches at least 4 times a week report fewer muscle complaints and higher energy levels throughout the day. I think of Mrs. Carter, a 73-year-old woman I once met. Gardening had always been her joy. It was her therapy, her way of staying active and happy. But as the years went by, bending down to tend her plants left her legs trembling and sore. She told me she thought she was losing her strength forever. But after adding peaches regularly into her meals, sometimes sliced fresh, sometimes baked lightly into oatmeal, sometimes blended into smoothies, her energy began to shift. Slowly, she found herself staying in the garden longer. The trembling faded. She even said, "Dr. Nana, I feel like peaches gave me back my garden." It wasn't magic. It was minerals quietly restoring balance to her muscles, supporting her nerves, and fueling her with natural hydration. So, when you think of peaches, don't just picture a sweet summer treat. See them for what they really are: a natural ally for your muscles, a fruit that keeps your body steady and your spirit lifted. And that brings us to the perfect bridge. We've explored collard greens for their mineral strength, honeydew melon for its hydrating power, and peaches for their quiet energy. Each one adds a layer of protection to your legs. But as powerful as these foods are, there's another fruit waiting just ahead, one that's rich in vitamin C, collagen-supporting compounds, and antioxidants that help your muscles recover after every step. Are you curious? Let's turn the page and uncover it together. As we saw earlier, peaches are more than just a sweet taste of summer. They are a gentle reminder that small changes can bring big rewards. One simple swap, choosing a peach over cookies, allowed a woman to return to her flower beds with less stiffness and more stamina. For her, that juicy fruit wasn't just food. It was a symbol that life, energy, and freedom can be regained one step at a time. And that's the real beauty of these foods. They're not complicated. They don't require a prescription. They're quiet, powerful partners that can bring back parts of life you may have thought were gone forever. Think about it: how often do we underestimate what a single piece of fruit, a leafy green, or a handful of nuts can do? Sometimes the simplest answers are the ones that give us the greatest strength. Now, as we come to the final stop in this journey, let's talk about something cool, creamy, and surprisingly powerful in its own way: yogurt. Many people praise yogurt for its probiotics and digestive support, but when it comes to your muscles, yogurt offers something equally important: a steady stream of magnesium, potassium, calcium, and protein. 1 cup of yogurt, about 170 grams, contains around 30 milligrams of magnesium and up to 370 milligrams of potassium. That makes it one of the easiest, most convenient ways to nourish your muscles daily. Magnesium works quietly, like a natural relaxant, easing tension from tired fibers, while potassium keeps contractions smooth and coordinated. Together, they form a team that reduces the risk of those nighttime cramps that can jolt you awake and steal your rest. And let's not forget the calcium and protein in yogurt to pillars of strong bones and steady muscles. Calcium supports the very structure of your bones, while protein feeds your muscles so they can recover and grow stronger, even in your later years. It's no wonder that research in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition found that people who regularly consume dairy products had better muscle recovery and fewer cramping episodes. I think of Mr. Lewis, 76 years old. For months, he struggled with restless nights because of sudden calf spasms. He confessed that his routine was rushed coffee and toast in the morning, a light lunch if he remembered, and then late-night snacks without much nutrition. His body was running on empty. We suggested something so simple, he almost laughed: add 1 serving of plain yogurt with fruit to his evening routine. Within weeks, the difference was striking. His sleep improved, his mornings felt lighter, and even his energy during the day came back. For him, this wasn't just a snack, it was a turning point. That's the beauty of yogurt. It's flexible, versatile, and fits easily into daily life. You can eat it plain, stir in berries for a double punch of antioxidants, or drizzle a touch of honey for sweetness. For those sensitive to lactose, today's markets are filled with lactose-free and plant-based yogurts that are often fortified with similar minerals. The key is to choose unsweetened versions so you get the benefits without the added sugar. Think of yogurt not just as dessert, but as a quiet partner in keeping your muscles calm, your bones strong, and your nights more restful. A bowl of yogurt before bed may seem ordinary, but it can set the stage for better mornings and more confident steps. Now, as we step back and look at the bigger picture, let's reflect on the journey we've taken together. From the humble garden pea to almonds, pecans, whole wheat bread, collard greens, honeydew, melon, peaches, and finally yogurt, you've discovered 8 everyday foods that carry the minerals your muscles cry out for. Magnesium and potassium may sound simple, but they are the silent heroes that make the difference between restless nights and peaceful sleep, between weak steps and strong, steady legs. And here's the message I want you to hold on to. Strong legs don't just come from exercise, and they don't only depend on medication. They come from small, steady choices you make every day at your table. When you swap refined foods for whole ones, when you add color to your plate with fruits and greens, when you let nature's minerals do their quiet work, you are actively rebuilding strength. You are protecting your independence. You are saying yes to living fully, not just getting by. I've seen it transform lives. I've watched patients go from fearful of walking to confident in their steps. I've seen people trade restless nights for calm, uninterrupted sleep. And I know it can happen for you too. So, as you think about your next meal, ask yourself, which one of these foods could I add today? Could it be a handful of almonds instead of chips? A cup of yogurt before bed? Or maybe a peach on a summer afternoon? Small steps, repeated consistently, create powerful change. Your health is not behind you. It's right here, in the choices you make today. And with each choice, you're not just feeding your body, you're feeding your future. And now, I want to leave you with this. If this video spoke to you, if you've ever struggled with cramps, weakness, or the fear of losing independence, let this be your reminder: you are not powerless. You can start rebuilding today. So before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Senior Health Boost. That way, you'll never miss the simple, practical tips that can keep you strong, steady, and full of energy in your golden years. And don't forget to share your story in the comments. I read every single one, because your journey matters not just to me, but to this entire community. Together, we can build lives that are not just longer, but stronger, safer, and more joyful. Stay with us here at Senior Health Boost, and let's keep walking this path towards strength and independence, one simple choice at a time.